Hello world, my name is Joe, and welcome to my very first episode. The videos that I put out before the intro, so I will pump that out a little bit more, and this video will come out on the weekend, which will be Friday or Saturday, most likely Saturday. But I am in the Las Vegas area. Yesterday was a beautiful day of hiking in Red Rocks Canyon, and the day before that was my birthday. And I'm here with Crystal and Zachy, and the weather's been beautiful. It's been in the 70s. Just a little background of what I've been up to since I made the intro. When I made that intro, I was in Chicago, freezing. But I ended up being in Chicagoland for like a month and going through a storage space, visiting with family, and we had a death in the family, so there was a funeral and all that. But left there a little bit over a week ago and made my way to Denver, and then I flew from Denver to the Vegas area, and that's where I'm here now with Crystal and Zachy. And like I said, we did some hiking in Red Rocks Canyon, and then we went. We checked out a big. We're not really into the. We're not. It's not even not really. We are not into the whole typical Vegas when you think of Las Vegas. We're more into the outdoor adventure Las Vegas. We've walked down the strip once since we've been here off and on. I've been here off and on for the last 2 months, but Crystal's been here full time for the last 2 months pretty much. But yeah, not into the casino thing. We're not gamblers or anything like that. So but we did go check out a pool. There's this huge pool. I think it's called Circa. But it was humongous. I mean, it's crazy. I would like to see it when the place is like busy, because this is not the busy time right now. I think a couple months from now is when it gets really busy, like March, April, May. Anyways, enough of that. Today's episode, the number one episode number one, is about depression. So if you already read that in the title, is about living with depression. Now this is crazy. It actually took me a while, and I think this actually happens to a lot of people. I'm the type of person that I'm always quick to say I'm all right. I've been through a lot of painful things in my life, had struggles, and then I've also had some major injuries. Like I broke my femur when I was 24 years old playing football. And I'll just touch on that a bit. Breaking my femur at such a young age, and going through the pain that was involved in that, and then also realizing like how amazing the human body is to handle pain. It gave me a super high threshold for pain, and that high threshold for pain has helped me and not helped me in different ways. In other words, I don't get sick that often, but when I get sick, I push it off, and then finally I'm like, I need to go to the hospital. You know, I've done that before when I had like I had an abscess on my tonsils. One time I guess I had strep throat and I didn't know it, but I was like fighting it, and I was like, I'm fine. And then I finally go to the hospital, and they're like, you have scarlet fever. And I'm like, what the heck? Are we in 1920? What do you mean scarlet fever? And I guess, but I shouldn't say I guess. I know that if you let strep or something like along those lines go, it turns into scarlet fever. And so, and they were able to tell that the second she lifted up my shirt and looked at my back, she was like, oh my God, you have scarlet fever. And I was like, this is crazy. But anyways, that's a good example of me and I can't say, like, you know how people say, listen to your body. It's not that I'm not listening to my body. My level of pain is really high, and there's numerous examples of that in my life, and it's also worked in an endurance manners. I ran several marathons, several half marathons, and in training and pushing, I did a triathlon, and so in training and pushing myself through them, my high threshold of pain and tolerance has helped me just keep going. You know, I also did it with yoga. In my first year, I'll talk about that more in an I Love My Yoga Life episode, but I ended up doing a tremendous amount of Bikram yoga classes in my first year of doing yoga, and that high threshold of pain and endurance definitely kicked in to give me the ability to do what I did. But anyways, so over the years, and I also want to tell you this is the first episode, so you're getting like this like summary and a run around everything. That I'm going to try as many times as possible is to just do this a one run, no editing. I did that with the intro, and then I just put my outtakes at the end. I will continue to do that. So I already had a couple outtakes in the beginning of this, but once it gets going, I'm just going. So I want to be as real as I am, and I want to talk to you just like I'm talking to you face to face. That being said, I am a man that has no problem showing my emotions. I do cry, and that will come up from time to time in our videos, and I'm not going to hide it. I'm not going to be like, oh, cut, I don't want to cry. I have learned early on through my life lessons that it is okay to cry. It's healthy to cry. That's why your body has the mechanism of crying. It's to release, to let go. It's showing emotion. So, anyways, just letting you know that if and when you see me get emotion, don't be showing emotion. Don't be surprised. Those that know me know that I'm very emotional, and it's not overly emotional either. It's just I'm very in touch with my emotions. So, high threshold for pain and holding things in, and then and I'm not going to go into depth because I don't want these to be super my videos here in the beginning. They may get longer as my audience grows, but I'm going to try to keep them around the 15-20 minute mark in the beginning here. But or less. But at a young age, I was on my own. I moved out when I was young. I moved out of my mom. I was raised by a single mother, and my mom raised me and my brother, and then eventually my sister. My sister on my mom's side is 12 years younger than I am. So it was just my brother and I, and then my sister later on in life. But a lot of struggles of a single mother, which those of you that are single mothers or children of single mothers, what an amazing feat and challenge and what that is. It's way harder than people realize unless you experience it or live it as a child, living it with a single mother. And so anyways, I did move out at a young age. I think I was around 16, and I was on my own, and then here comes that thing inside of me, like, I'm okay, I can handle it, I can do anything, and that's not a bad thing to have. It's not bad to have that thought process of I'm okay, I can do anything, but there needs to be this reality check of like, are you really okay? Are you okay? Or do you really need to talk? Do you need to express how you feel? Pause. I'm going to sneeze. I'm going to pause. Okay. So, that was a brief pause while I sneezed. But that's the only time you're going to see me like edit something, because I'm not going to sit there and go, anyways. So, so that's part of being like, I'm okay, I can handle it, and like I said, it's okay to be that way with some things, just to motivate yourself to do things. But, sometimes you really got to check in with yourself. Are you okay? Can you handle what's going on? Do you need to talk to somebody? So a series of things were happening when I was like 17 and into 18, right? And I can give you the years if you want. But it's not necessary. Just put it this way. My birthday was a couple days ago, February 3rd, and I just turned 56. So do the math. No, I could tell you. It was 86 and 87 when I was 17, 18 years old. And I don't want to say that I was homeless, because sometimes when you think of someone being homeless, you think like, okay, they're down and out, or they're addicted, or mental illness. Let me see how I can be real with this. I was homeless by choice and by circumstance. in other words, I didn't have safe. I didn't have safe places to be that were safe, and so that being said, I moved myself. So when I originally moved out, I lived with an older guy that was my waiter. I was a busboy at a young age, and in a Mexican restaurant, and this the scene, the atmosphere in the scene, you know, super nice guy, and really helped me a lot at a young age, especially not having too much of a father figure. My dad was not super existent in my childhood. He became more existent more in my adulthood than he was in my childhood. So I kind of moved around, and there were times that I found myself literally on the sleep, like couch surfing, like sleeping on a couch here, sometimes sleeping in a park. And this is all in Chicago. And I ended up hanging out with a group of friends, my brother included, but family, family as in an uncle, and then my brother, and a group of friends. You know, this is when we're like 16, 17, 18 years old, and just parties, just, you know, house parties, and just parties. So we were all working. Everybody was working some type of a job. Nobody was like in a major career. Some of them were starting to come into something, you know, typical of that age. But at that time, I really started holding things in, and I had a series of events. Some were my fault, some were not my fault, but, you know, a series of events that really led me down this road of feeling super depressed. And there was this trigger. I'm hearing myself say a lot, and my beautiful daughter sent me a message after she saw my intro video, and she's like, Dad, that was good, but you say a lot. And I was like, okay, I'll try to work on that. But anyways, I went down this path of a lot of partying. I was never big on drugs. I have experimented with drugs, but nothing major, you know, marijuana, mushrooms, and stuff like that, you know. But it was just more of the go of not being grounded, and just going, and then being at this person's house, and then being at that person's house, and just not having a home base. And a series of things happened that were like just clipping away at me. That summer of '87, I was 18, and that year I was really hard on myself, but I was also falling into a deeper depression, which I didn't know anything about at that point. And I was driving one day, and I was not drinking and driving. I was sober and whatever, but I was driving on this suburb road outside of Chicago, and I was driving, and there was some kids on the shoulder riding their bicycles, and right when I got as close as you can possibly get to them, the one kid shot out right in front of me, and I hit him. I was doing about 45 miles per hour, and I hit him, and he flipped up over my hood and into my windshield, and like kind of into the car, but then the wind, or the momentum of everything, his legs, and he ended up blowing back out of the car, and I went into oncoming traffic and down into a shoulder. It was one lane going this way, one lane going that way, and I had glass in my eyes, and his hair was all stuck in my windshield. It was a crazy scene, and I got out of the car and was over there, and then the ambulance came, and they took him away, and there was a lot of blood. And my point of telling you that this incident was a nail in the coffin for me. So this is why I'm telling you about this. I had a series of things that were happening, and when this happened, I, for the first time, was giving up on my life, and was like, I can't get anything straight here. Nothing I'm doing is working out. And even when I'm trying to just drive down a road and not doing anything wrong, a kid shoots out in front of me, and I almost kill him. He did survive. His parents ended up paying for. There was lots of witnesses. There was a bunch of backyards on the other side of the road, and there was people out there. and also a garbage truck was coming this way that almost hit me because I crossed into his lane. But so a lot of people witnessed the fact that I wasn't at fault, that this kid just shot out in front of me out of nowhere. But that put me into a really dark place in life, and it was just a matter of time. Fast forward, I won't go through great details, but at this time, maybe at another time I will. But fast forward, I ended up deciding that I wanted to take my life, and that I'm ready to leave. And yeah, so I'm not going to go through great details of that now. It's not that I don't want to. I just want to stay more on the topic of depression than the topic of my suicide attempt. But I did have a suicide attempt at 18 years old that included a gun. And I ended up in a psychiatric hospital for 3 months. And when I came out of there, I was struggling to find my ground of like where what am I going to do with my life? I'm still 18, and what do I want to do? Where do I want to go? And this is wintertime in Chicago by the time I came out of the hospital. And then my dad talked to my uncle and ended up talking to my uncle. My uncle owned a roofing company out in California, so my dad sent me out to California. So that's enough of that. But so that was a major point in my life that I felt I need to share with you guys. So fast forward, I moved through life, and I have these ups and downs, but I'm not attributing them to anything. I'm not like putting them together. I wasn't living my life since I was 18 saying I suffered from depression. I wasn't like that. And also at that time, they didn't really say things like that. I know now that if something like that happened, they would really quick, like, okay, what kind of addiction problems do we have? What's the household like? What's this? Back then it was more like, let's get them together and talk in a group, peer counseling. And I know that peer counseling still works today, but it was just different back then. I just think back to like why didn't we work on this, and why didn't we work on that? Or why didn't they ask me this or ask me that? I'll back up here real quick. I was in such a bad health shape at that time, and people that have lived on the streets or have been homeless or whatever, they can tell you what happens. Or if you just go at a young age, or any age, I guess. But I'm going to be straight up forward with you guys, right? So I was constipated. I had major wax buildup in my ears. They had to flush out and syringe this all the wax buildup I had in my ears. And this is just from basically just being on the go and not like doing your basic healthy things. And then stress, the constipation was from stress. Like they're asking me how often I was pooping, and I was like, I don't know, once or twice a week. And they're like, what? Those of you that are pooping once or twice a week, that's not okay. All right, you should be pooping daily. But let me move forward from this. So that was my late teen years, and then I ended up going into the roofing business with my uncle, and then my other uncle moved out there, and I had two uncles in California that had roofing companies. I was working for both of them, and it was a great experience. I was still growing. I still had teenage to young men issues, falling into the wrong crowds and stuff. It could have been a lot worse. I wasn't like really with the worst of the worst, but drinking too much and stuff, and still working like 6 to 7 days a week. It was crazy that I found enough time to go to rock concerts and party with a bunch of my friends. And in California at that time, I mean, I'm saying it's not like that now, but California at that time, different than Chicago. Chicago was very house party oriented because outside the weather's always whatever. But California was very outside. So going up into the mountains or going to the lake or going to the beach, going to the ocean and stuff, it was very outside. And it was a whole different world for me. All right, so let's move on from all that. I think I spent too much time with the background story. What I want to get to is this, that I've lived years and years and years of my life thinking that I can handle it and that I can do this, and then realizing that if I didn't do something extreme, if I didn't preoccupy my brain and my mind with something like running a marathon or doing a triathlon or doing 700 Bikram yoga classes in 1 year. If I didn't do something like that, it wasn't too hard for me to fall into this state that I didn't realize that, like, I didn't put the words depression on it. The state of not really caring about anything, a lot of whatevers. What do you want to do today? Whatever, so moving forward, and I'm not going to go in depth with these things. These things will come up later on my channel, but I'm not going to spend the time on it now. But moving forward, I went through a major spiritual awakening. I had a near-death experience in 2012, and then that continued on through 2014, where I fully awoke into the spiritual awakening. Like I said, I'll go through that stuff later. And then what followed after the spiritual awakenings, which I call a spiritual depression, and I will explain that in a later video. But moving forward, I ended up doing a Vipassana meditation in Thailand in 2014. Those of you that don't know what Vipassana meditation is, it's typically your first, and there's different places to do it, but I did the Dhamma.org organization for Vipassana, and that is your initial one, and then they have different sits after that. But your initial one is 10 days of no eye contact and no talking for 10 days, meditating around 11 hours a day, and all vegan food. And a lot of these places are all over the world. So if you go to Dhamma.org, or you can find these temples, these meditation halls all over the world. And it's amazing. And it's donation based, so whatever you can afford. And they book in the 10 days with a day. So there's the intro day, then 10 days, and then the outro day. So it ends up being 12 days. So the first one I did was in 2014 in Thailand, close to the southeast of Bangkok, about 5 hours southeast of Bangkok, by the Cambodian border, in the jungle. And it was a really nice place. I had my own room and stuff, but you don't have anything to write with. You're all whatever. That experience was very spiritual with me, because I was going through a major spiritual awakening at that time. Fast forward, excuse me. Fast forward okay, I gotta clear my throat, you guys. Fast forward, the spring of 2023, 2023, I did my second Vipassana. So almost, some 9 years later, I'm doing my second Vipassana. And I'm going to tell you, when I went into that second Vipassana, this was in Hawaii, I don't think the word's cocky, but confident of being like, I've done this before. I know what to expect. And I had other people around me. They're like, I've never done this before. I'm scared. I don't know how this is going to be. I don't know what's going to happen. That much silence, that much meditation, that much, going inward, And I was like, it's okay. And all that. And so I don't want to say I was cocky, but I was just confident in the sense, because I've done it before. But I ended up going into that one with a little bit of thinking that I knew what was going to happen, and apparently I didn't. And what quickly happened in that 10-day meditation was, one, I need to be healthy on a daily basis. I need to exercise. I need to, even if it's just walking, I need to be outside. I need to be around nature. I need to eat healthy. As I have gotten older, my body doesn't bounce back as quick as it did when I was younger. Your mind, outside of strong mental illness or an injury, your mind doesn't drastically change in the fact that you're getting older. You still think you can do things, especially where I'm at. I'm not in my 70s. I'm in my mid to late 50s. I'm in my late 50s now. I'm 56. I didn't say this is the happy birthday that Crystal put up for. I'm in her van. Crystal has a van. I have my van. Anyways, it was for my birthday, obviously. So anyways, that that, you know, my when your brain's clear and you think like you know, I'm fine. What happens is you'll find out that if you don't take care of yourself and if you're not doing things on a regular basis, that your body's not keeping up. You're waking up and you're just like, oh, and you find yourself, you know. And plus, I have an injury that I've been living with since I was 24. Like I told you, I broke my femur, so I have an intermediate rod. But anyways, coming out of that Vipassana, the big aha moment was like, Joe, you have been living with depression your entire life, probably since you were like 6 or 7 years old. And that was, you know, just like when they, what is an aha moment? An aha moment is like, oh my God, like, holy cow. I never even, like, it's just an eye opener. And for me to say those words out loud and to admit them, like I told you, I was always, I'm okay, I'm all right, I can handle this. Me coming into that moment of like, that aha moment of like, wow, I depressed. Because things that would happen would spin me out, you know. I'll give you something. Something happened with scheduling in the yoga studio that I was at. I would fall into a depression, and I didn't associate to that. But this is in hindsight that I would realize, oh wow, I fell into depression with that. Something with a girlfriend or whatever, a relationship that I'd fall into depression. You know, and for me, depression is laying in bed, not wanting to get out of bed, and then especially after the spiritual awakening of understanding everything that's going on in this world. Like I said, we'll go through that stuff later on my channel. But the thought of exiting was strong, you know, and I'm trying to remember how I used to describe it. I was a functioning suicidal person, you know, functioning suicidal. In other words, I was handling my day-to-day tasks, and just like a functioning alcoholic or whatever drug addict, I was handling my day-to-day tasks, but deep down inside, suicide was running through my head probably 5 or 6 times a week. And nobody could tell. Nobody would know. You know, just like a functioning alcoholic, a lot of people are like, oh no, he seems fine. You know, she seems fine or whatever and stuff. I didn't know there was a problem because they hide it, you know. And that was the case with me. So having that awareness that was happening, and then getting into my relationship with Crystal, we've been together for 3 months and 8 years. 3 months and 8 years. Backwards. 3 years and 8 months. She's gonna get a kick out of this because she makes fun of things. I mess up things a lot when I talk. But she is a 20 plus year ICU nurse. She retired in 2022 of being 21 plus years in ICU nursing. And her being with me a lot, you know, we lived together, and her being around me, she started like realizing she's because she, you know, when you live with somebody and you're around somebody, you're starting to see the full picture, you know. And she was like, hey, I think you might want to get on some medication. And I'm telling you, the second I heard those words, I was like, no, I can do it through yoga, and I'll sign up for a marathon. You know, I was very resistant, very fighting medication. And she's like, no, I've talked to other people that have gone on medication, and you know, you just need help with like you know, there's this chemistry in your brain that's just not connecting. And she could be more with the technical stuff on it. Maybe I'll bring her in on the next episode to discuss it. But Crystal's amazing at that. You ask her anything medical, you better have a half an hour, because she would thoroughly give you the answer that you're wanting and more. But and that's one of the many reasons why I love her. But I was resistant, and she kept on me, and she's like, please just try it. If it doesn't work. And I'm going to tell you guys, you know, I finally was like, sure, let's do this. And I went to the doctor, and they did some like really brief tests. They started me on a low grade. It was Wellbutrin is what I ended up going on, which I am on. And it's like night and day. I never knew that you can think the way that I think now that I've been on this medication. Um, I never knew. I can't be depressed right now if I try. I started at 150 milligrams, and then they moved me up to 300 milligrams, and I think that's pretty much where I'm at. You can go up to, I think, to 450 or 400 or whatever, and whatever. But I'm at like 300. I'm at 300, and it has drastically changed things. And you know what? It hasn't drastically changed things in the sense that my life is dun, 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 and you know, I won the lottery, you know, but I did win some type of a lottery. I do not think about killing myself anymore. I can't if I try. And I don't spin out when bad things happen. I just go with the flow. I've always had that ability to go with the flow, but now without all these dark thoughts. How long will I be on this? I don't know. Are there any side effects to it? I haven't felt any. I would suggest doing your research, seeing what works for you. But I think one of the biggest things I want to get out in this video is that don't shut down something that might be working, something that might be able to help. You know, I never wanted to be on medication. Do you know what I mean? Anytime you fill out any of those stupid little things, are you on medication? Nope. Are you nope? Are you no? I've never been on any medication. Well, no, now I am. Now I am on medication, and it's okay because it's helping me make it through this lifetime. Those that are super close to me, Crystal, Lori, my sister Rebecca, know what it's like, you know, to feel that feeling, to hear it, you know what I mean, to hear that feeling or know that feeling of despair and not being able to connect, to a safer place within yourself where you feel that the safest place to be is not to be. So I know that this video went long, but those of you that are still with me, the outcome of this, I hope, will help some people. Please comment, and I will answer any comments that you have. If I need to make a follow-up video from this, I will. But the biggest thing I want to say, and I want to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out to my friend Carrie. Carrie, you are so strong. You are a beautiful woman. Carrie put out a video and put herself out there, and Carrie is well known in the yoga world, and Carrie has a lot of people that look up to her, and she fearlessly expressed the fact that she had been going through depression, just like I am doing right now. And that was so inspirational to me. So for that, Carrie, I love you so much. I have always loved you, but to see the strength that you had to do that, and you know, and then we know each other, and I you know, we've never talked about any of this stuff together, you know, because why? Because we got this. You know, I'm gonna end with this. You might have it, but you could also use help to get through it. So don't be afraid to reach out for help. All right? I love you. Bye. Good morning. I just wanted to add this at the tail end here. Something I forgot to mention. I have had lots of therapy in my life, and that is very important. I started therapy in my my early 30s, and I had a wonderful therapist named Mary for about 7 years in Chicago. And then later on in life, when Crystal, my wife, and I got together over 3.5 years ago, we brought on a therapist right away, and that was Gail, and she's wonderful. She's still my therapist to this day. And then also more of a coach than a therapist is Candace Vandell. But if you if you need any referrals or anything like that, comment and I can reach out to you and get you some referrals for that. But I just want to say that it's very important to have a therapist or a coach in your life, someone that could think outside the box and help you through. It has been very helpful for me throughout my life and helped me with a lot of growth. And it's also helped me identify my depression and also get through it. So don't be afraid to reach out for help. What else was I going to say about it? Yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, therapy is definitely a good thing. And today, there's so many easy ways to get therapists online, and right from your home. So I'm in my van in Denver, and I just wanted to drop this into you. So I'm laying in my bed in van. I just woke up, and I wanted to get this out to you. So bye. All right, we're going to start out with a little bit of test here, see how this looks for the lighting and the birthday banner and my face in the camera case and wonderful gray beard. Took me 56 years to grow this gray beard. All right, let's stop. Take 2, I clean my lens. I think that's better. Sitting up straight. Leaning back. Let's move the camera a little bit back, a little bit further. Dun, dun, dun. And just talking like this. Am I too far away? Is this too close? Looking in the camera, not looking in the camera, looking in the camera, not looking in the camera. Talking like this. Is that too far? Coming in like this. All right, I think we're ready. Hello world, welcome to episode number 1. Finally doing it. I'm going to pump out the intro a couple more days and then this will probably come out on the weekend, but today is February 4th, excuse me, 2025. It's actually not the 4th, it is the 4th. And it's a day after my birthday. My birthday was yesterday, didn't feel like it was yesterday. All right, we're already making bloopers here. Today's the 5th. All right, blooper already.